Welcome to the Weather Insights Briefing. I'm meteorologist Scott Pitney along with meteorologist Jeff Lindner. This is the afternoon of Martin Luther King Day, Monday, January 20th. And Jeff, since we've been on this morning, we're seeing the winter storm warning expanded now. This morning it was stretching from near Brownsville, Texas to Pensacola, but now we're expanded all the way over to South Carolina for winter storm warning. Includes New Orleans, Houston, other major cities, Pensacola, along the Gulf Coast there. So this event is getting larger, and the purple shaded area or light purple shaded area is a cold weather advisory. Correct? We're not seeing the freeze warning anymore.
So winter
So,
weather advisory.
I'm sorry, winter weather advisory. Yeah, so winter storm warning, winter weather advisory. So that has expanded, and what we're looking at right now, as far as current temperatures, at least in the Texas area, we're looking at mostly mid 30s. The clouds have sort of capped, not allowed a lot of radiation cooling today. So sort of kept a blanket there to keep the cool air in. We see mid 20s up around the Texas Panhandle. So not quite freezing, but we are starting to see some activity on radar. Now this is very light, and you see that blue shade, that usually indicates freezing rain. Of course, that's rain in the green down there in South Texas. Some of that is falling to the ground, but the lighter areas, that light blue shade in areas north around Corpus, not even sure if that's making it to the ground, but it is the beginning of something, the moisture that we're expecting to move in. We also have that area of blue area of freezing precipitation in North Texas. And again, not even sure if that's making it to the ground, but that's that mid-level loft. That is that area. And then the green area is the coastal low. You can see it here. This is mid-level moisture. We're seeing the mid-level low there where the clouds are. And we do have clouds in southeast Texas too. So we do know that there is moisture at the mid levels, but what we're not seeing yet is moisture at the surface. Seeing dew points very low still at the surface in the teens, but then we do see that subtropical jet with that zonal flow below. That's where that coastal moisture is forming. And Jeff, that is going to be moving in our direction. We are expecting that frozen precipitation to be headed towards southeast Texas later tonight into Tuesday.
Oh yeah, and I feel like we've been talking about this for forever, and
Yep.
I guess it's finally here. And let's get on with it, I guess.
Right.
This is we'll go into the temperatures, then we'll do the snowfall forecast, and I do have some information to update everybody on roadway preparations and stuff, and also some of the airports. So Scott, don't let me forget about that.
Yep.
So these are the forecast low temperatures tomorrow morning across the area, mid 20s for most areas. This will be with precipitation falling, so clearly we're well below freezing. So anything that falls is going to accumulate, not only just because the temperatures are cold, but also because of the rates that it's going to be falling at. Bigger concern on temperatures is going to be Tuesday night to Wednesday morning, likely with snow cover on the ground. We're talking mid, upper teens across a large portion of the area. Obviously, this is really cold for us. This is that kind of dangerous, damaging cold where you worry about your infrastructure, your even protected water pipes at this level could have some issues. Natural gas connections can have issues at this level, along with diesel fuel below 20 degrees. If it doesn't have an additive in it, it can start getting a little slushy. So hopefully, we'll be able to get through this without a lot of damage. But again, taking those precautions, especially tomorrow night into Wednesday morning, for those pipes and that type of stuff. And then I don't know if we're going to get above freezing on Wednesday. We might get up around freezing, maybe a little bit above, but I don't think it's going to result in a lot of melting of the snow. So this is going to be one of those situations that's going to linger along for a little bit longer than we typically have. And this is the forecast low temperatures for Wednesday night, Thursday morning. Again, another kind of hard freeze across portions of the area, mid 20s, low 20s up north,
Yep.
even down on the coast, mid 20s. And so we anticipate if we do get some melting on Wednesday, it is going to, kind of refreeze again as we get into Wednesday night, Thursday morning. So the roadway situation, once it goes downhill this evening, it's probably going to continue to go downhill into tomorrow, and even potentially into Wednesday and even Thursday before we really start to come out of this later this week. All right. So for snowfall totals, every time I kind of show this graphic, the numbers kind of bump up a little bit more,
Yep.
and we continue to see now a potentially historic event here in Southeast Texas again. If we were to get over 3 inches of snow, we would have the second highest snowfall here in Harris County. The higher one would be 1895. We had 20 inches or so. But look at these totals. I mean, we're
Uh,
talking 7 inches of snow over in
yeah.
Lake Charles, potentially 6, 7, 8 inches over in the New Orleans area. So, really a significant snow event. And a lot of this will be determined by the banding. So, just like what we talk with rainfall, we have certain locations that get greater amounts of rainfall and compared to the average. And you can see here, average snowfall anywhere from 1 to 3 inches across the area. The further north you go, the lower. The further south you go, kind of higher totals. And it's just banned here, this kind of swath from along the I-10 corridor and then possibly back down southwest. We've seen some of the modeling today indicate that we could have a little bit higher accumulations kind of down towards Fort Bend County, maybe even Wharton County, Brazoria County. We get into this, 4 to 5 inch range of snow, and just to kind of average this all out, 2 to 3 inches over a good portion of the area, potentially 4 to 6 inches kind of along Highway 90 and then along Highway 59 south and east, and this kind of highlighted dash blue area indicating locally higher amounts. Okay, and so I was just looking at some of the national blend and the percentages here, and we're talking there's about a 70% chance of greater than 4 inches across the metro area and about a 40 to 50% chance we could have up to 6 inches of snow.
Wow.
So this is definitely something to pay attention to. We might even have some of our heaviest snow down here around the bay, Chambers County, Bolivar, Galveston Island, Galveston County. This is where we could see some of those bands really pile up as we get into tomorrow morning for a couple of hours. And like I've been showing the last few times, uh, the models continue to indicate these bands, these mesoscale bands, these convective bands, and you can see it here showing very nicely where you have these kind of darker lines here. That's some convective uh, precipitation happening with the snowfall. We can see snowfall rates, quarter to a half inch, maybe even an inch an hour on some of the heavier bands. Visibilities are going to come way down in those bands. We're talking a quarter mile visibility, and it is going to be very windy. Northeast winds 20, 25, 30 miles an hour, could even gust to 40 and 45 down along the coast. We do have gale warnings for all of our waters and gusting up to 45 knots across our waters. So this is about as close to a nor'easter, if you will, that we get on the Texas coast here with the wind, the driving snow, and in the very cold conditions as we go into late tonight, tomorrow morning. So snow starting late tonight, probably after 9 o'clock. Heaviest bands coming in between about 3 and 10 a.m. Tuesday morning, and then it exits out of the area to the east as we get into the midday hour, say around noon, 1 o'clock. And so that's kind of our time range here for the precipitation to come down. And like I wanted to mention, I've got a lot of questions about roadways and plows and power and all this stuff. So I want to go over some of that. TxDOT has pre-treated with the anti-ice solution all of our freeway systems. Okay, so all of the freeways, all of the beltways, toll roads, everything has been treated with the anti-ice solution. So that is sprayed on. When it's dry, it adheres to the pavement and it works roughly down to about 29 degrees. And so it helps lower the freezing temperature of water from about 32 down to around 29. Unfortunately, it looks like we're going to be below that temperature. So the stuff starts to break down and become less effective at those levels. In addition, the state of Texas and TxDOT has brought in 22 plows into our region to help for snow removal. And those will be used to utilize to try best of their ability, TxDOT's ability, to keep the major interstates open. That would be I-10, I-45, and US 59. The secondary tier roadways will be utilized if we have resources. So this would be 290, 249, 225, 610, and those types of systems. Highway 90, State Highway 6, those types of roads are a secondary system. So right now, the plan is to utilize as many resources as possible to keep the major interstate systems open, and then also routes into any sort of like the medical center and stuff like that. The city of Houston has pre-treated all of those surface roads in that area to help access in and out of the medical center. Power, we are not anticipating any power issues. First, on the generation side, from the ERCOT standpoint, this is really a localized storm event down here in Southeast Texas. You can clearly see it is not snowing in North Texas or the Panhandle or West Texas, and so we're not going to have likely big issues with generation. Additionally, this is not a statewide super cold outbreak. It's actually going to be warmer in West Texas and North Texas as we get into Wednesday than it is down here because of our snowpack. And so we're not anticipating any issues with generation. Could we have some isolated outages because of the heavy snow? It's going to be a wet snow collecting on some of the tree limbs or power lines. That's possible, but we're talking, a street here or a house or two here. We're not anticipating widespread outages. What's going to help us is the wind's going to be blowing, and that helps kind of blow that snow off the tree limbs, right? So it's not going to stick to it and stay. And then the last thing I do want to bring up, we've been talking about this a little bit today, is if we do start getting those totals anywhere over 6 inches, since this is likely to be a fairly wet snow with temperatures just around or just below freezing, there's a big water content with that. And so when you start talking about the weight of the snow, especially on flat roof buildings, especially metal tin roof type buildings that don't have any, arch to them, you can really start piling up the weight. And so just to kind of give you an idea for wet snow, 1 foot by 1 foot is about 10 pounds for 6 inches or so, 4 to 6 inches of snow. And so we're gonna have to keep an eye on that. Carports, sheds, any type of storage buildings, anything with those metal roofs that are kind of flat. There's gonna be a lot of weight up there with this water content of the snow. So something to keep in mind. I hopefully we don't have any issues. We don't deal with this very often around here, but it's a lot of weight that's going to be put on some of the roofs of stuff.
Yeah, great information, Jeff. And just keep in mind, the window for preparation really should have already been done by now, but you still have about 5.5 hours before things start happening with the precipitation. And like you said, that melting and kind of refreezing, potential melting, that stuff's hard to see. And a lot of times in these winter events, we see things melting and we kind of think, oh, well, it's done. But then it refreezes at night and it's very difficult to see ice at night. So just again, don't be out there if you don't have to. And we'll keep you informed right here on Weather Insights and the latest. Make sure you're subscribed to our channel. Make sure you turn on those notifications. We'll have another update bright and early tomorrow morning, Tuesday morning during the event. And also check out our Weather Insights blog. Jeff, thank you very much.